rental headquarters south of Clinton on US 51. Check our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com to book online today and pick up tomorrow. Highway 51 Exchange.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone today, Jack Myers with Social Security. Good morning, Jack. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Seth. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. I have to confess, Jack, I know you and I both big baseball fans, and normally I don't get into spring training baseball at all. It's just exhibitions, and by the fourth inning, you're looking at half a group of players that you don't even know who they are. But I got to tell you, Jack, been watching a little baseball lately. It's got me revved up for the spring. It really does.
Well, good. I think your team's got a little bit more optimistic outlook for this season than mine does.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Juan Soto hitting a home run in his first at bat of spring training maybe gets the juices flowing a little bit quicker this year. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. I couldn't tell you though.
Hey, hope is a wonderful thing, right?
It really is. It really is. But no, we appreciate you, Jack, making time for us as always, and great stuff for us here today. In fact, the day of our discussion, Jack, is National Slam the Scam Day. I'll tell you what, we cannot talk about this topic enough. Just continues to be something that folks are dealing with. Slam the Scam Day. Let's start there, my good friend.
Absolutely. This is something that we've been doing with our Office of Inspector General for several years now. Basically, it's just an opportunity to try to raise awareness of all of these scams. We're talking about this kind of stuff throughout the year and trying to give people tools and information to prevent them from becoming victims of these scams. We're trying to keep people from stealing your money or your information. Unfortunately, the statistics are pretty somber when it comes to these sorts of things, Seth. Last year, the Federal Trade Commission received close to 200,000 complaints of government imposter scams, and Social Security was the most frequently impersonated agency. Of those people who reported scams, almost 12% said they lost money to a scammer, and more than $97.8 million was lost to scammers impersonating Social Security. So it's a big problem, and one of the things that we have to do is we just have to keep talking about it. The best way to combat these scams is to help people understand how to recognize them. It is to raise awareness of them. So that's why we have Slam the Scam Day, and that's why we're talking about it today, but that's why we'll also talk about it in the future. Just get the word out, make sure that people know that this sort of stuff is happening. And I think by raising that awareness, we're taking a step in the right direction towards preventing these things from happening.
Sure. Well, and Jack, the best way to prevent these things from happening is to recognize them when it's happening to you. And I'll tell you what, scammers are getting better and better at kind of disguising themselves with every attempt. Let's kind of just talk about what it takes to recognize a scam that may be attempted towards you.
Absolutely. So, one of the things that we try to talk about is, kind of the 4 Ps, if you will. So they're going to pretend to be from Social Security or some other government agency. They're going to tell you there's a problem or promise you some kind of prize. They're going to put pressure on you, and they're going to try to get you to pay in an abnormal way. So basically, like this unexpected problem is here, and they are trying to help you, and they try to pressure you to act immediately. They know that when we feel stressed or we feel panicked, we don't make our best decisions, right? So that's what they're going to try to force on you. So just be aware of that. When someone's trying to apply that external pressure and trying to get you to act immediately, that should be a red flag right off the bat. One of the things when I mentioned the pay aspect, they're trying to get things that are untraceable. And types of payments that once you relinquish them, you can't get them back. So some of the examples are cryptocurrency, gift cards. I've actually heard people using gold, transferring money to gold, wire transfers, cash, things that once, like I said, once you give them up, they're nearly impossible to get back. So those are red flags as well. One other thing that they sometimes say is that they're trying to get you to convert to these other sorts of finances, so that they can keep your money safe for you. That's a big red flag too. That's not what we're going to be doing. So don't fall for that sort of thing. Make sure that you're on high alert, because when the phone rings, there's a chance that it's one of these scammers on the other end. It's kind of frustrating that we have to talk about that and say that, but it's the reality of where we're at right now.
Sure.
More times than not, the person on the other end is actually trying to steal from you. So you just have to answer the phone, or you have to open that email, if you choose to open it at all, with that in mind.
Yeah. Well, and I want to jump to, Jack, it's specifically for Social Security, the way that you will contact folks to conduct business with them. Oftentimes there's not a sense of emergency with that correspondence. Can you speak to just the ways that Social Security gets in contact with people that have business to conduct with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an important point, Seth, because, we are trying to administer a very important program here. And, in doing so, we do occasionally need to contact folks. And so we might call you. For example, if you've recently applied for benefits, or you're receiving benefits and have requested a call from us, there may be a reason for us to reach out to you and contact you. If there is a problem with your record of some sort, we're typically going to send you a letter about that. We're not just going to call you up and pressure you into doing something. We would send you a letter in that kind of circumstance or situation. And if reviews are due, occasionally the type of benefit that you're on might require that we do periodic reviews. If that's the case, you're going to get something in writing from us. You're going to get a packet of information, and you're going to be able to respond that way. Even if you have an overpayment, sometimes people get paid too much and we have to ask for that money back. But if that's the case, you're going to get a letter about that. That letter is going to contain appeal rights. You're going to have options for how you pay it back. It's never going to be some sort of high pressure tactic where if you pay it back right now, you get a discount or something. We don't do that. So that sort of thing is not what you should expect from us. You should expect professional correspondence, things coming in the mail. Those are the types of contacts that we're going to make. And then, like I said, if you have scheduled an appointment, or if you've requested a call from us, then you could be receiving that. So don't be overly cautious in those circumstances, but in other situations, just be careful, because the pressure and the attempts to get you to act hastily without having time to think about it, those are telltale signs of scams, and those are the things that you really should be skeptical of.
Very good. Well, Jack, let's dive into reporting these attempts to whoever, authorities, whatever the case may be. Speak to reporting these scam attempts.
Yeah, so I do want to make sure that I stress the fact that we're all vulnerable to this. I think when something like this happens to us, there's a tendency to be embarrassed and to not want to talk about it and not share it. But I really would encourage you to do that, to share it, to talk to people about it, to tell your story, because that's how we prevent it from happening to other people. And the way that you report it to us is you can report it to our Office of Inspector General. So you could go to oig.ssa.gov/report, or if you just go to our website and go to ssa.gov/scam, you're going to find links to our OIG site, ways to report that. It is very difficult to get your money back. I'll be quite upfront with that. It's not real likely that we'll be able to recover your money. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but because of the ways that they get your money, they become very difficult to get back. But your report is a data point, and it helps us figure out where these scams are originating from. It helps us shut them down, and it helps us be aware of what's going on so we can prevent it from happening in the future. And I'm not saying we've never gotten money back or law enforcement has never gotten back, because it does happen, but the prospects of that unfortunately aren't real great.
Jack, best place for folks to learn more?
Best place is going to be our website, ssa.gov/scam. You're going to see all the latest information about scams. And remember, like you started off this part of the show, today is National Slam the Scam Day. So talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, make sure people are aware of it, because together, communicating about this, talking about it is the only way we're going to overcome it.
That is Jack Myers with Social Security, my guest on the phone. More to come with Jack on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. Corn starting the day steady, beans higher, and wheat slightly higher. May corn opening 457, up 1 1/4. July corn up 1/4, 463 1/2, and December new crop 445, down 1 3/4. May beans starting the day 1020 1/2, up 8 3/4. July beans up 7 1/2, 1032 1/2. And November new crop 1014, up 4 1/2. May wheat 550 1/4, up 2 pennies. July wheat up 1 1/2, 563 1/2. And September wheat 579 3/4, up 1 3/4. May bean meal 302.70, that's up 2.90. And May bean oil 43.31, up 32 cents. Opening numbers on this Thursday morning. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, I'm Helen McAlassie, and I'm running for mayor of Clinton. I was raised in Clinton along with 7 Brady siblings. I'm proud to call Clinton home, and as mayor will work to promote the city and showcase our local businesses and events. As mayor, I will work to promote them to attract more visitors to Clinton and more support for our community. Clinton is a great city, and when we all work together, we can move Clinton forward together.
Paid for by Michelasi for mayor.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic inside Family Medicine can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Jack Myers, Social Security, my guest on the phone. And Jack, I couldn't connect with you in the break. You still there with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, something's going on with my phones. I couldn't get connected with you. I apologize for that, my friend. But at any rate, let's talk about, Jack, quickly, retroactive payments for the Social Security Fairness Act and those individuals impacted by that. What's going on with this?
Yeah, so this is really big news, and this is something that's just really kind of starting now. So there's something called the Social Security Fairness Act that was passed earlier this year, and what it did was it eliminated 2 provisions that affected Social Security payments for people who receive what we call non-covered pensions. So what a non-covered pension is it's a pension that is based on work that wasn't taxed by Social Security. So those 2 provisions were called the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. And what they did is they reduced the Social Security payments that recipients of these non-covered pensions were receiving. So some examples of people who would have been affected by this would be public school teachers in the state of Illinois. They are covered by the teachers' retirement system, so they don't pay into Social Security. That TRS pension that they receive would have previously, in most cases, caused their own Social Security benefits to be less through the windfall elimination provision, and it would have caused whatever they're eligible for on a spouse to be less or perhaps completely wiped out because of the government pension offset. So this Social Security Fairness Act that was passed at the beginning of 2025 actually eliminated those two provisions retroactive to January of 2024. And we are now in the process of making corrections to records, and money has started going out to folks. So people are getting back pay in their accounts for the adjustments that were made. And then we're expecting the monthly payments to be higher for most folks, starting with the payment you receive in April of 2025. So again, teachers are only one group of people who are affected by this. Other examples could be police and firefighters who had municipal pensions that were not part of Social Security, government employees, federal government employees who were covered under the old civil service retirement system. So a lot of different examples of people who could potentially be affected by this.
Sure, you said 3.2 million people. So when it comes to folks receiving those payments starting in April, will it be like the same across the board, Jack, or what's that going to look like?
No, so it'll be all different, Seth. So basically, it's going to be, just kind of vary. It'll vary depending on a person's earnings record, the amount of the pension that you're receiving. Maybe it's going to depend on the spousal benefit that you're receiving and your spouse's earnings record. So it's going to vary quite a bit from person to person. It's going to be very specific. It's going to be, kind of similar to the way people's monthly Social Security benefits vary. This will vary as well. So you wouldn't necessarily expect to get the same amount of money as someone else in the same situation. The back pay is starting to go out now. So people are starting to see that, and you will get the payment before you get a letter. So you might be kind of surprised if you see a big deposit in your bank account. Then the letters will go out, probably 2 to 3 weeks or so after you see the payment, because in most cases the payments are direct deposit, and the letter has to be printed and mailed and go through the mail system and that sort of thing.
So with that, Jack, anything else to mention we didn't touch on with that? That sounds like folks should be anticipating those things soon.
Yeah, so a couple other things I'll mention on that. Number one, if you go to our website at ssa.gov, at the very top, we've got a special banner for information about the Social Security Fairness Act. So you can click on that to get additional information. But I also wanted to mention that while we're processing as many of these as we can through automated processes, those are the ones that we think are going to get resolved this month. There will be some that we have to do manually, and those are going to take a little bit more time. So, we're trying to get through these as quickly as we can. It's definitely a priority for us, but we do ask that you please kind of hold back on calling us to check the status of this, because we can't handle everybody calling us at one time about it. So we're asking folks to kind of wait until you get your payment in April to see if that went up before you give us a call at Social Security to check the status, just so that we can continue focusing on all of our mission critical work and, not have our phone systems overloaded with status inquiries on this topic.
Very good. Hey, Jack, I'll tell you what, let's wrap it up today talking general enrollment period for Medicare Part B, which ends March 31st. We often hear about the open enrollment period for Medicare Part D, but Part B, as in boy, going on now. How about that?
That's right. So when you enroll in Medicare, if you choose not to take Part B, as in boy, during your initial enrollment period, which if it's based on age, it's going to be 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after. Most people choose to get enrolled in Part B at that time. If you don't, maybe it's because you're working and you're covered by a group health plan, or your spouse is working and you're covered by their group health plan. So you choose not to take Part B at that time. And then later when you retire, or your spouse retires, or you lose your insurance, you decide to enroll under a special enrollment period. Those are two pretty common ways to get into Medicare Part B. But what if you chose not to take Part B during your initial enrollment period just because you chose not to? You didn't necessarily have any other coverage that was based on active employment, but you didn't want to pay for Medicare Part B. Not a lot of people do that, but some people do. And if that's the route you chose to go, then your only real other window to apply is the general enrollment period, that is each calendar year from January through March. So if you're in that situation, we are in the last month of the 2025 general enrollment period right now. So if you're wanting to get signed up for Medicare Part B, now is the time to do it. If you sign up in March, your Part B coverage could be effective April 1st. So in order to do that, you would have to do that through Social Security. You can find it on our website if you go to ssa.gov under the Medicare section, or you could contact us at 800-772-1213 and ask for a Medicare Part B enrollment form. It's called a 40B, but you don't have to remember that. You could just call us and ask for the form to enroll.
Sure. Very good, Jack. Well, I got a couple of minutes still yet. Was there much in there you wanted to expand on that we didn't touch on?
Yeah, just a couple other things on that Medicare enrollment. Earlier, I talked about the special enrollment period. So let's go back to that for a moment. If you chose not to take the Medicare Part B during your initial enrollment period because you were still working, or because your spouse was still working, and now you had group health coverage, and now you want to get signed up for Part B, you would still use the 40B form, which is that Part B enrollment form I was talking about for the general enrollment period. But in addition to that, you would also have to be able to show us that you qualified for the special enrollment period. And the most typical way is to show us that you had insurance that was based on active employment. There is a form for that. It's called a 564, the CMS L 564 to be precise. But you can get that from our website. So go to ssa.gov. When you get there, at the top, there will be something that says benefits and Medicare. If you click on that Medicare, then you'll find information on how to apply for Part B. And then it'll even say, if you're already in Part A and you just want to sign up for Part B, you'll find the forms in that section. You would just have your employer fill out the 564, or your spouse's employer, and submit that to us along with the other form, the 40B. You can even fax those things to us, and the fax numbers are available at ssa.gov/locator. So best way to do that would be to get those things from our website. Again, that's ssa.gov, and then look for the Medicare section.
Jack, always good to talk to you, sir. Thanks for making time for us.
Thanks for having me.
Jack Myers, Social Security, my guest on the phone today. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is now.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton 92.3